In his 1989 essay, The Pleasures of Eating, the poet, farmer, and social critic Wendell Berry observed that eating is an agricultural act. Eating ends the annual drama of the food economy that begins with planting and birth. Most eaters, however, are no longer aware that this is true. They think of food as an agricultural product, perhaps, but they do not think of themselves as participants in agriculture. They think of themselves as consumers. If they think beyond that, they recognize that they are passive consumers. They buy what they want or what they have been persuaded to want within the limits of what they can get. They pay, mostly without protest, what they are charged. And they mostly ignore certain critical questions about the quality and the cost of what they are sold. How fresh is it? How pure or clean is it? How free of dangerous chemicals? How far was it transported, and what did transportation add to the cost? How much did manufacturing or packaging or advertising add to the cost? When the food product has been manufactured or processed or pre-cooked, how has that affected the quality or price or nutritional value? Most urban shoppers would tell you that food is produced on farms, but most of them do not know on what farms or what kind of farms or where the farms are or what knowledges or skills are involved in farming. They apparently have little doubt that farms will continue to produce, but they do not know how or over what obstacles. For them, then, food is pretty much an abstract idea, something that they do not know or imagine until it appears on the grocery shelf or on the table. This is the world that community-supported agriculture is seeking to change. Indeed, by more directly connecting food producers and consumers, community-supported agriculture is, in the words of Michael Pollan, making eating a political act. And so in this video, we're going to look at the world of community-supported agriculture, uncovering its contributions to the construction of an alternative food system and exploring their limits. Community-supported agriculture, sometimes called CSAs, is a model of food production and distribution that prioritizes a direct connection between farmers and consumers. Typically, community members invest in the farm by buying a share of the harvest before the growing season begins. This upfront payment helps the farmer cover costs and ensures a market for their produce. In return, members receive a portion of the farm's harvest throughout the season, sharing in both the bounty and the risks of crop failure. CSAs focus on growing and distributing food within the local community, often prioritizing seasonal produce that reflects the natural rhythms of the region. This reduces food miles and supports a more sustainable food system. CSAs foster relationships between farmers and consumers, allowing members to get to know the people who grow their food and to learn about farming practices. This often involves farm visits, newsletters, and opportunities for volunteering. Most CSAs also prioritize organic, sustainable farming methods, promoting soil health, biodiversity, and minimizing the use of synthetic fertilizers and pesticides. The history of CSA farms can be traced back to the work of Booker T. Whatley, a professor of horticulture at Tuskegee University, a historically black college. Whatley was a pioneer in the field of regenerative agriculture, but he also advised small farmers to move away from producing commodity grains, which often commanded low prices, and forced them to compete against large farms which benefited from huge economies of scale. Instead, he urged them to grow a variety of high-value specialty crops like berries and grapes, and to sell them through clientele membership clubs in which customers paid in advance for a share of the farm's harvest. Whatley believed that his model would help small-scale farmers, particularly black farmers, gain economic stability and escape from a cycle of debt that kept them trapped in poverty. Around the same time, farmers in Japan developed the TK system, which roughly translates as partnership or cooperation. Like Whatley's clientele membership clubs, the Japanese TK system had consumers purchase food directly from farmers. The first TK group is believed to have been a group of Japanese women purchasing fresh milk from local farmers. But the movement quickly expanded, driven in particular by growing environmentalism, popular distrust of the quality and safety of the conventional food system, and concerns about the loss of farmland to urbanization. In the 1970s, farmers in Germany and Switzerland began to adopt a similar model as consumers sought closer connection to their food sources and greater control over the quality and sustainability of their food. In Switzerland, a model of solidarity agriculture emerged, essentially organizing as farmer-consumer cooperatives, normally involving consumers actively participating in the production process, paying annual membership fees, but also contributing their labor and participating in the decision-making on the farm. Such farms operated under a biodynamic agriculture, essentially a form of organic farming. The term community-supported agriculture was first coined by Jan van der Tuin, whose ideas encouraged Susan Witt, Robin Van En, and others to establish the Indian Line Farm in Massachusetts, usually credited with being the first CSA in the United States. This, along with the Templeton-Wilton Community Farm in New Hampshire, are credited with popularizing the concept. Since their arrival in the mid-1980s, the popularity of CSAs in the United States has exploded. According to data from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the number of CSAs in the United States increased from about 60 in the late 1980s to more than 7,000 today, peaking at more than 12,000 around the year 2012. Several factors contributed to the significant growth of community-supported agriculture in the early 2000s. Rising awareness among consumers about the environmental and social impacts of industrial agriculture led many to seek out alternative food sources that prioritized local, sustainable, and organic practices. CSAs aligned with these values and provided a direct connection to farmers. The broader food movement, encompassing farmers markets, food policy councils, and others, was also gaining momentum during this period. This helped normalize and popularize the idea of buying direct from farmers, making CSAs more appealing to a wider audience. The 2008 recession also played a role, prompting many consumers to reevaluate their spending habits and seek out more affordable options. With their focus on seasonal and locally sourced produce, CSAs offered competitive prices compared to organic options in supermarkets. The rise of the internet and social media platforms also facilitated the growth of CSAs, permitting farmers to more easily connect with potential members, while online payment systems streamlined the subscription process. But after 2012, this rapid period of growth began to reverse, with farm memberships shrinking and farm members seeking other avenues to secure their food. Again, there are several reasons for this. First, the success of CSAs inspired the emergence of other alternative food models, including farmers markets, food hubs, meal delivery, and online grocery delivery services, with many advertising local organic produce. This increased competition led to a diversification of options for consumers seeking local food, diluting the market for CSA memberships. At the same time, some consumers experienced fatigue with the CSA model, particularly the need to commit to a season's worth of produce and the unpredictability of what they might receive each week. From the consumer's perspective, other models, like online grocery store delivery services, offered greater convenience and a wider variety of products, appealing to busy consumers who might find the commitment to a CSA share less convenient. And it permitted them to avoid unfamiliar products they commonly received as part of their farm shares. The cost of CSA shares remained a barrier for some consumers, particularly those with lower incomes. While some CSAs offered sliding scale pricing or payment plans, affordability concerns persisted. And even as programs like SNAP expanded to include purchases at farmers markets, CSAs generally remained excluded from SNAP and other similar programs. And from the farmer's perspective, the time, labor, and marketing commitments required to run a successful CSA were not insignificant. Some farmers struggled to keep up with the demands of running a CSA while also managing their farm operations. Running a CSA involves significant logistical challenges, including planning, growing, and harvesting and distributing a variety of crops, and these operational burdens could be overwhelming for small farmers. And managing member expectations, preferences, and feedback required time and resources that many small farms found challenging to sustain. As a result, the traditional shareholder subscription model, under which members pay a set fee at the beginning of the season and receive weekly or bi-weekly boxes of produce, often delivered to a central location or available for pickup on the farm, is giving way to a variety of other CSA approaches. In some cases, members receive a share value and choose their product from a farmer's market style setup at a farm or designated farm location, allowing greater customization and flexibility. Meanwhile, some CSAs are increasingly moving to partner with local restaurants, schools, or other institutional food services, providing them with a steady supply of fresh seasonal produce while giving members access to special meals or discounts. In doing so, they're essentially diversifying farm income streams. Other CSAs are doubling down on education, helping to make shareholders understand the value and variety of produce they receive, including providing recipes and explaining the benefits and uses of the items received in the farm share. And they're searching for ways to make the entire model more convenient for the consumer, giving greater choice in subscription models and box content and sizes, introducing more flexible pickup days, schedules, and locations, introducing share delivery, establishing payment plans, and developing partnerships with community organizations to permit SNAP benefits to be used on the farm. Despite the challenges, CSAs remain an important part of the alternative food movement in the United States and around the world, establishing a more direct connection between farmers and food eaters, and beginning the process of decommodifying food, re-embedding our food choices into a broader social, environmental, and cultural context. But that's it for now. As always, please leave any questions you have in the comments section below, and thanks for watching.